Good morning, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Currency and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a wonderful week. Right, it's been a great week. The market is moving somewhat slow, but regardless of that, we still managed to get some nice setups. Right, so before we get started with this week's analysis, let me just remind you that if you are only interested in specific pairs, you don't have to watch the whole 90 minutes of these videos. If you go to any of my videos and you click on the Show More tab that is under the description of the videos, you'll find the Show More tab. You'll find that all the pairs that we're going to discuss here in this webinar are time-stamped. So that means you can just click on any pair and it will take you straight to the analysis of that pair. For example, if you click on pound JPY, it will take you straight to the pound JPY analysis. So you don't have to toggle around and look around for a specific pair or watch the whole video, even looking for only a few pairs that you're interested in. So that helps. You can also use this to do back testing. It's like flipping on a book or when looking for one single chart. So that works amazingly well. You can use that to also test the accuracy of these webinars, and if we're doing if the analysis is setting up as we analyze it during these webinars. All right, so welcome to those that have just joined us. Right, so the next course, let me just talk a bit about the course. The next course is going to be on the 3rd to the 13th of December, so that's a 2 weeks course. If you want more details about the course, send me an email. You'll get details such as the timing of the course, the cost of the course, which is currently $529 US. Price will be reviewed next year. We're doing so much more in our group, so hence the review of the price next year. So this is the last time that you're going to get this course for $529 US. That cost covers your mentorship as well for 2 years. So that means for 2 years you'll be in the group. We'll be trading, we'll be doing market analysis daily. What I'm doing here for an hour and a half, we also do this on a daily basis, Monday to Thursday in our group. So that is the benefit of that. So after the course, you don't just go away and leave you like that, because you still need to apply the theory practically. So I don't expect people, especially if you don't have any experience, I don't expect you to be a professional Elliott Wave trader in just 2 weeks. That's just impossible. But also, it also depends on your level of experience. Some people come with some experience, with some knowledge. So we unteach them the old principles and teach them the new principles. So for those, it becomes a little bit easier for them to learn. Okay, so that is the course from the 3rd to the 13th of December. For more information, send me an email. You'll also find my contact details on the description of my videos. Right, so I will advise that if you are interested in joining us, you also download an application called Slack. We use the Slack application for our group. So you'll find that in the Slack group, we've got a channel for each and every pair. It's not like these Telegram channels where you just find clutter and everybody posts charts. It's like a traffic of charts. So here everything is organized. Every specific currency has got its own channel. So that works amazingly well. It's nice and organized. You've got over 300 Elliott waivers looking at the charts with the same theory. So that makes it much better. So if we are not seeing, if we don't have different views, then we discuss to see why we've got different views. Not that there is anything wrong or with having different views. It's actually expected that you have an alternative. That is why you'll see that when I do analysis, I'll sometimes show you more than one alternative. But even with an alternative, you will still need to know which one will be the right path based on the patterns that forms. Right, so let's get started with today's analysis. Right, so we're going to start with the correlation between Euro US dollar and the DXY. Okay, we'll do a bit of a recap of what we discussed last time and what we expect the market to do going forward. So we have been looking at this pairs and we've been looking for this trend for a while now. This made a pulsing move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Similar here, we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move coming down here. Okay, I just don't want to put up the labelings because it's going to be all cluttered here on the chart. So we've got the labels there. Everything is labeled properly. but I just want to do this with annotation tools. I think it's easier to understand and to see the waves using the annotation tool. So this is the daily chart on both Euro US dollar on the top and the DXY at the bottom. So as you see here, we had this pulsing move here. It is a 1, it's a 2, it's a 3, it's a 4, it's a 5. Okay, so even here we've got a pulsing move down, coming down here. So we need to understand whether this cycle to the downside has ended, and if we're going to get a bounce. That is, we've been expecting a bounce at current levels, but that bounce came in a form of a correction. So similarly here, we had the opposite move on the DXY coming down here. We also had this move here. So this move that we're looking at is an A move. So if you want to understand why this is an A move, you need to look at the whole chart historically. So we're also looking for this one to be a B move, and then we're going to look forward for this to then bounce. But this is long term. So here you also have an A move right at the bottom. I'm out of space here, and we're looking for this B move here. So we have been looking for this here, this wave to make an A, B, C move in the lower degree. So a pulsing move, a correction, and another pulsing move. Similarly here, we're looking for this one to make a pulsing move, a correction, and the last move, so that we can complete that bigger corrective structure. So we're going to go into the individual charts just now so we can understand why we're expecting these moves to happen. So this will be the B wave here that we're looking at to complete, okay? And we'll be looking for this one to be the B wave here. So next week, if we have some time, I will show a bit of a historical chart on why we are looking for this one to be an ABC move. It's not just a matter of coming to the last swing and see a pulsing move and say that this is going to be a corrective structure. This is based on the longer term, on the historical data of this chart, because that's where you start to trade. Right, so I'm going to look now into Euro US dollar structure individually. Let's go to Euro US dollar. Right, so please just make note that today's video will be edited a little bit late because I'm going to be on the road right after this webinar, so I will edit it later on. So that means the timestamps will only be available much later or tomorrow even. Okay, so as soon as I am seated and I've got time to sit and edit the video, I will do that. All right. Great, so this is what we're looking. This is a Euro US dollar chart, and we are looking at this piece here. Let's just look at that last piece and focus on it. I'm only going to go into the detail on Euro US dollar. The DXY will be the opposite of what we're doing here. So you've got a pulsing move here. This is where wave one started. I see we've got people on the chat box. Let's just see what's going on there. Welcome. They're just greeting. All right, so we've got one there. Welcome everybody that has just joined us. We've got one there. Apologies for the short notice in the time. So the time is going to be now. It's going to be from 10 a.m. South African time, which is 6 a.m. GMT. So it's nice and early. You get to the webinar nice and early. You get to go through it almost 12 hours before the start of the Asian session. Right, so we're looking at the pulsing move down, corrective move. And internally, we've got an internal structure. So when you look at this, you don't just go and say and put in the numbers there. If you just put on the numbers, you will miss the cycles. So that's the reason. This is how we understand whether the cycle has ended or not. When you consider all the degrees, because if you just look at 1 degree, you will miss the cycle. So here we had a triangle correction here, and the last move to the downside. So what does this mean? We've got 1, 2. As I said, I'm going to do this with annotations, not with the trading view numbering. So this looks like a pulsing move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this lower degree. You can see that the red degree is the lower degree, and you've got a yellow degree, which is 1. We'll call this on 1 degree higher than that. This is a 2. And we're coming down here in a wave 3. So that means we had a yellow wave 3 completing right at the red degree. Okay, so this is our wave 3 there that we're expecting to complete there. And then we're looking for this one to be a wave 4. So yeah, last week or the last couple of weeks, we have been talking about this either being the complete wave 4 or the wave 4 coming to be somewhere around here. That means that this corrective structure in wave 4 will go a little bit more sideways. How will it go sideways? And this is what we're expecting. We're expecting that this is going to be a 1, 2. Let's do this. This is going to be a 1, 2, 3, 1 bounce up, and then we get a move to the downside. Okay, so that was going to be a wave 4 in this area. Okay, now this is the alternative. So we know that it's either that this is a complete a wave 4 in a zigzag, or this can be a regular flat. Those two alternatives. So what has happened here? We expected that this is going to bounce up, but when it bounced up in 3 waves. So when it bounced up in 3 waves, then we could see that it was not going to give us a pulse to the upside. So that is why we could already see that it made a corrective structure. We're going to go into this corrective structure on the 4-hour. Let's go to the 4-hour. We're actually looking for this to bounce up. That's why you'll see that my forecast, as I always said, that you will always know the next available move. You may not know the next 3 moves accurately, even though you can focus them. So let's just show what we're looking at here for. So you see here, we were looking for this one to, let's just clean this. I was looking for this one to bounce here. So this was the next move. Okay, you know that it's going to bounce up. What you don't know is whether this is going to, what you don't know for sure is whether this is going to be a pulsing move. So when it becomes a corrective structure, this is what you just simply come and do. I mean, I'm going to remove the labels there. You can clearly see that it makes a 3-wave move. A 3-wave move is a corrective move. 1, 2, 3. There's no way you can go and buy a structure like this. You can clearly see that this is a 3-wave move and it is not going up in there strongly. So here, what's going to happen? It is also coming down with a strong impulse. So I expect that this level will be broken. So breaking of this level here and the correction is going to expose further downside, which means that this would have been a wave 4 complete, and we're not going to have this wave 4 here that we're expecting as a flat. So this is how you know, and this is how you adjust as the sequences go, even if you've got more than one alternative. So this essentially eliminates the other alternatives for this to go and retest the top. Okay, so now you've got this coming down here with the impulse. Any corrective structure is going to be further downside, but you must just be careful here, because if you look at this structure here, it has made an impulse, and this one looks to be slowing down. Okay, even though this is going to come down, if it keeps going down with this slowing down move, we are eventually going to bounce up and make possibly an expanding flat. So we just need to watch how this breaks to the how this breaks below this level, not because it is a support and resistant area. Okay, we don't even look at that. We're looking at the fib levels, we're looking at the structural levels. Okay, so if we break here and expose further downside, then this is going to come down. But you must just remember that there's still a possibility for this one to break here and break up and come before it comes down. So what will that mean? Coming up here and breaking down below here will simply give you a different structure. Okay, so that is very likely possible. It can give you an expanding flat or a running flat, which can even turn here. But for now, what is the next available move to trade? Okay, that is forecasting number of waves ahead, but what is the next available move? So the next available move, you're going to find it here in the lower degree. You look out for corrective structure. Be careful. This may not go all the way. It may just break here and then reverse. Okay. But either way, you take this and you will move this to break even at this level. Right, so that is Euro US dollar. The DXY is going to be the opposite of what we've just discussed. You can see that we also expected the DXY to go all the way to come and retest the bottom here to make that structural level. Same thing here, we're expecting that this will go in this impulse. So it only went in 3 waves. We were forecasting this move. It only went up in 3 waves. Didn't happen, but when it went in 3 waves, you could see that it's going to be a corrective structure. So now we've got this bounce to the upside. Okay, so now you need to check here. You've got 1, you've got 2, you've got 3, you've got 4, you've got 5. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but rather W, X, Y, X, Z. So there's a possibility that you just bounce up and come down. So this is why I'm saying Euro may bounce for 1 up before it goes, for 1 down before it goes up. So this will be a 1, 2, 3 corrective structure here and bounce down. Okay, for now, what is the next available move? The next available move is for this to correct here, confirmation for this to clear here, which is the same level as this. If we clear this level and correct, then we know that we're going to expose further upside. Then will mean further dollar strength in the weeks coming sessions, in the weeks ahead. Right, so that is the Euro US dollar and the DXY. Let's carry on with the rest of the US dollar pairs. Pound US dollar. So pound US dollar is looking very interesting. We expected it to reverse at this area. I think we discussed it. If we didn't discuss it in last week's video, it must have been discussed in the mentorship session. Okay, so let's just do that here. Just want to check something here. Let's take this off. So here's the interesting thing about pound US dollar. So pound US dollar is at a point where we have made a 1, 2, 3 wave move. We have made a corrective move in this fashion, which is a X wave. Now, what you see here is this piece is this first piece that has happened here. Now we've got this corrective structure, which is this one now starting to correct here, which is this one that is corrected here. Now, if you get any indication here for any upside, it's going to be a definite trade that will rally into the blue box. But you need to get this to reverse with an impulse and give you an entry point. As of it now, it is coming down. You don't have any entry point, but if you get any impulsive move here and a corrective structure, you're going to get one of those guaranteed pair trades running into the blue box. Let me see if I've marked the blue box. Yes, it has been marked, but not. It has been shown with the fib levels, but not marked with the box. So you will expect that the pound will rally into that blue box. Yes, it looks like it's going down now, but that doesn't mean anything. Where is it going down? Going down to where? So what we are seeing here is simply that this will be making this structure. And if we get this to reverse here, mostly at the 61 of this will rally definitely into the blue box. And that will make a bigger corrective structure like this here. Let's show that corrective structure. 1, 2, 3 waves before we come down. Okay, so that will be your corrective structure. So we need to watch if that is going to go up. Otherwise, if this move is not complete and we are wrong about this going up, you will wait for this flag and your next stop will be here. Okay, but for now, our first alternative is to wait for any indication. Possibly this will drop here a little bit and go up. You can see what this one did here. It dropped very deep and it would have convinced you that it's coming down. So this is what they do with this. It looks like it's going down, so you don't just go and rush on it. You wait for it to give you a confirmation or an entry point. It will be a very interesting one to look at in the week ahead. That's pound US dollar. US dollar CAD. US dollar CAD is looking rather interesting now. We have been looking for this one to come into that blue box for a while now. It was one of those guaranteed trades when we were here. When we when it made this move here, we wanted to buy it here on this flag, but then it made a deeper corrective structure there. It has now reached the blue box. Let's just show that blue box. It has now reached that blue box that we've been looking for. So what we expect here is a corrective structure. You can see that we're looking for this one to be a 3-wave move here. Okay, that is an A, B, and a diagonal. Okay, so that makes an ABC move W. And now what are we going to look out for? We're going to wait for this to correct. If this corrects like this, we'll look for this one to give us another 3-wave move similar to this one in size. To come into this level, not this blue box now anymore, the new larger degree blue box, and then we'll expect then this to come down. Let me show the higher degree why we're looking for it to do that. If I just show you on the daily here, you'll see it's rather very interesting. Let's switch off the labelings. We've now broken out of this structure. We focused this whole structure from June. We've been looking at this structure forming, forecasting how it's going to play out. Even this corrective structure we looked at, and that this was going to make a 3-wave move correction because we were looking for this. We know that this corrective structure that is happening here is exactly the same as this one that is happening here now. So we have been looking for this to give us this 3-wave move. So that is the 3-wave move that we're looking for here. Because if we know that if this is following this exactly and we get this 3-wave move, the bigger move to the downside is going to be an interesting one, as we have gotten that we've also traded this 1,300 pips. Not only this 1,300 pips, but we were able to forecast this 600 pips here and the correction here and traded this 600 pips. And right at the tip on the blue box, I don't know if the blue box is still marked there, we had a blue box here where we sold this one from 1,000 for 1,300 pips. You can go measure this. Is about 1,300 pips. Okay, so we're expecting the same thing here. Okay, so we're going to take it one step at a time. We've made the move now. We're looking for this to give us a corrective structure, something similar to this in size, and then a bounce up. It may just come and retest this level here and drop, okay, if this is not complete. But we're looking for this. So we're looking for a bigger move to the downside. Okay, but for now, the trend is upside. Any corrective structure, you're taking it up. May just break this slightly and come down. That will make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure, WXY, X, Z, and we drop. Same way we go ahead, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, W, X, Y, X, Z, and we drop. So exactly the same thing, we're following this structure. So this structure is giving us guidance as to how this one will play out. May not happen exactly the same, but we'll track this one as it comes. So the next available move, even if I go to the lower time frame here on the 4 hour, just look at the 4 hour, you're looking for this to start correcting. And that correction will be starting in the blue box. Let's show that. So we're right in the blue box, so we expect the correction to start here. A little bit of a deeper one. And we'll take it up from there. That's USD CAD, CHF. USD CHF. We're still looking for this one to make a deeper corrective structure. It does not have to be this deep, it can be this size. We are looking for this corrective structure here now. Has this corrective structure completed? Right, so now this is going to give guidance to what the euro is going to do here. If we start correcting from current levels here and push up higher, that means the euro is then going to expose further downside as we have analyzed, and that is what we expect. I'm not expecting a structure like this. I'm not expecting that this will be this is what I'm not expecting. I'm not expecting this to be a flat correction because it has gone up here with an impulse. So I'm expecting that this will correct at current levels and push higher. Okay, may not go with a strong momentum because we're still looking for this one to make a bigger corrective structure here. All right, so USD CHF is rather a little bit tricky at this stage. If you get this corrective structure, clearing this level will expose further downside, and that will mean that this is the B wave that will have completed here. Okay, so that is USD CHF. Before we go to ZAR, let's go AUD and New Zealand first. AUD, textbook stuff, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and drop. As we expect, as we've said last week, if you go watch last week's video, we expected that this was going to make a corrective structure, a 5-wave move to the upside. So now we wait for this one to drop to the downside. So it's a little bit tricky now because what we don't know for sure is whether this is an A, B, C move here like that. That is a corrective structure, and we are going to get this move to the downside. Right, so here's the difference between trend lines and sequence. So you know that we have been looking for AUD US dollar to go and retest the blue box, which it has not touched at this stage. And the sequence also is incomplete as far as the waves are concerned. We're still missing one green wave to the downside. And that green wave has not happened, and we're not forcing that green wave. We are simply looking for this structure here. Let's look at this structure. This lower degree, 1, 2, 3. Then that will complete into the blue box. That is the structure that we expect. So this coming down here below this structure and coming down here will mean that we will be completing the last wave to the downside. This green Y, and the red there. Let's remove all of this and show it clearly. So this is the last X, and we'll be looking for this one to be a 1, a 2, and a 3. This will be, it can be any structure. It can be a running flat. You can even turn here and not reach the blue box if it becomes a running flat, because right now what we have is it has already touched the top here, and we're looking for this one to do this 1, 2, 3 wave. Whether it's going to break the low here, if it breaks the low, it will just be breaking it to start looking for more upside. So you look out for divergence here when it comes up. So the sequence is incomplete as far as the structure in the cycle is concerned. We can see that this is not complete to the downside. AUD also goes with gold, so you will see that gold also, we have been looking for it to complete a move to the downside before any upside. Right, so that is AUD US dollar. New Zealand also has made a pulsing move to the upside with the euro. So we'll also look for this one to drop one more. Okay, drop one more, 1, 2, 3, and then we look for for this drop. So as far as this structure is concerned, this has made a 1-2. It could have made a 1-2-3 wave move to the upside. So if this is only a 3-wave move and we still want one more up, that will mean that this cycle has completed and we're going to look for a corrective structure. This corrective structure will mean that we are now ready to go for more upside. Okay. Right. So that's how we're looking at this. Okay, sorry for the cut there. So we're still looking at New Zealand US dollar. Excellent. New Zealand US dollar. So New Zealand US dollar, you see that the AUD made 3-wave move up. We're still looking for one down. So there may be a slight difference here, or we're going to need to see which one is going to lead us. We've already broken out of this so-called V pattern here. We've made 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've made 1, 2, 3. Actually, the AUD, as you've seen, has already made a 5-wave move outside. So here we'll look out for this one to make one more before we get a corrective structure. So if we get a corrective structure like that, that would mean that New Zealand is ready for another move to the upside, making this a 3-wave structure. Okay, so let's keep an eye on this and how this one plays out. We've made a very strong impulse here, so we'll look out for one more to the upside. Michelle, if I just revert back once to AUD, just so you can look at this structure, AUD has made the same thing as well. See, the AUD has already completed that 5 waves, so that's why we're expecting New Zealand to do the same. Let's just draw this one cleanly. So you see, AUD is already leading the New Zealand. We're expecting the same 5-wave structure on the New Zealand. We've got 1, 2, 3, and here we may have, this one looks like a running flat. I don't like this running flats with a pulsing move in the middle here, but as far as the structure is concerned, it looks, and the way it is correcting there, this looks like it has made a running flat there, 3, 4, and then a 5. So if this is a 5, now we're looking for this one to correct, whichever structure is going to give us. So every time I'll always focus to zigzag. It is not always supposed to be a zigzag. It can be any of the corrective structure that Elliott identified in his books. All right, so I'm just focusing the zigzag. So it can be any corrective structure. So we'll look for this to correct here. You'll get one more down here. It may not necessarily go all the way. Okay, we are actually looking for this one to go all the way, but if it comes down to this level and go like this, then we're going to adjust the structure and the sequence that we're looking at. That will mean the sequence would have ended. Remember, I was still talking about the sequence here to the blue box, that we still need one down. So if this does not happen here, we're going to adjust the sequence. Because you see, everything that happens at current levels, whatever we look at, should have a ripple effect in the whole cycle and the sequence. That is AUD and that is New Zealand. Now let's look at the ZAR. ZAR is looking rather very interesting, exactly as forecasted last week, playing out to the pip. Let's look at what we looked at last week. So last week, when ZAR was breaking out here, it was a clear trade to the downside, and I said it's going to come and break either this level or this level and reverse. Okay, we came to this level, it bounced. Okay, we came to this level, now you've got the reversal. Now, what structure are we looking at? We've looked at this structure even way before this started correcting here. When we were still here at the top, we looked to have a similar structure like this. So this is the long-term focus on the US dollar ZAR. I'm looking out for a corrective structure here and a retest of possible the previous high at around 15 here. This will be making this corrective structure. If you look at this one in red, let me mark it in red. 1, 2, 3. Very interesting one. You also have a 1, 2, 3 here. What will you expect? You'll expect that you get another 1, 2, 3. What will all that do? It will give you the structure. 1, 2. What's happening there? You take that off. 3. So that means you're correcting the whole swing from right at the bottom. Okay. You want to hide your videos, guys. We don't want to see you. You want to see me, or you don't even want to see me. You want to see the charts. Okay. So this whole swing here will be corrected by this big move. So what is happening here is that we are getting a corrective structure, a long sideways corrective structure. So if you get this big correction here, we will look for US dollar ZAR further weakness in the days ahead. Unfortunately for the ZAR, for us, this side, that means further weakness on the ZAR. Because the structure that you're going to have now is going to be like this. This will be the whole corrective structure that you get here. Okay, which will be a WXY move, corrective, double correction, WX with a B, complex X wave, Y, and then we move. But that is forecasting way ahead. What is the next available move? The next available move, if you're interested in trading the US dollar ZAR, you look out for a correction here in the 1 hour, should take you to retest the previous high at around 15 level. Okay, let's see how it plays out there. And interestingly enough, the 15 level will be at about the 61% of this. Right, so that is US dollar ZAR, looking very interesting there. Now let's move on to the yen pes. Before we do the yen pes, let's look at gold. We will look at gold and then we're going to look at US dollar JPY because there's a direct correlation between this and US dollar JPY. Okay, so during the week we're looking for this one to come down. Now I think most of you have forgotten why I've said that gold is it's not ready to go up yet. Let me just remind you what we did months back and why we are saying, and why I'm saying this is because the cycle and the sequence is very important. It's not just about the trend line. I mean, if we're looking looking at just the trend line, you would have said that this is broken, and you're possibly saying that this is retesting and then it's going to go. It's possible if we're wrong. It's possible if you're wrong. That's just a different perspective on how to look at the charts. But if you look only on the trend lines, this will mislead you into thinking that this is ready to go. But we look at the cycle and the sequences, and we're not just looking at it in the last piece. We're looking for this to drop for one before we go, and that's one will mean that this is a three-wave corrective structure that is happening here. I've said this for a long time, even when this was building up here, that I'm just looking for this to reverse in the blue box. If you watch all the videos in the last couple of weeks, I was never looking for gold upside from these levels. I'm looking for gold to drop. Same thing I said about silver. I've been looking for silver to go to the 1350 level for the last couple of months. Okay, but we're going to look at that as well. So we are looking at this as a wave 4 on gold, and any corrective structure here will take us now straight down. What does that mean for US dollar JPY? We'll look at that just now, but first we need to look at silver. Okay, we need to look at silver. But for gold on the daily, it's very clear. We've made a three-wave move to the upside, unless this is going to give us one more up, but I don't see this giving us one more up. I'm only looking for this one to come down. But if this happens as well, still don't look to buy gold. Don't look to buy gold. We're still looking for gold to come down. Okay, we'll see when the structure changes. So for now, you've got a simple three-wave structure. Okay, one down. When you start coming down here, we start getting divergence in the indicator on the RSI. We'll then look for upside. Okay, so we're not saying it's not going to go up. We're just saying not yet. Now silver the same. So silver is a little bit more interesting, and the structure needs somebody to be a little bit clever here, because you may think that this is making a correction for one up. If you just trade, if you just look at the charts with a blanket approach without looking at the internal waves, you need to look at all the waves and how they are structured. That is what makes it difficult for most people, because you just look at the structure and you cannot spot or identify all the degrees or all the wave degrees. Now let's look at what is happening with this one. So this is silver, and this is how I look at silver. Silver, this is a three-wave correction. We looked at these three waves and we thought this may drop from here, even though we expect that it can make a double. But look at how interesting this double is. This is a three-wave move here in the lower degree. Three-wave move, we expected. Okay, so after a three-wave move, two things can happen. Either we go or we make another double. Another double. Okay, this being the W, this being the X, this being the Y. But look how interesting this Y is. So this Y is very interesting because it is not just a zigzag. As I said, I always focus the zigzag. So you've got this one as an X, but the Y is a three-wave regular flat. So this gives you a W, X, Y move, And silver may be telling you that gold is also ready for further downside. So any corrective structure here on silver, a break below this level will expose the 1350 that we're looking for. Why are we looking for 1350? If we just go to the daily time frame, the reason why we're looking for 1350 is because it's a structural level here. It is not a support or resistance level. We just want this to come and drop to this level before any bounce. Similar to what we're looking for gold to do at around 11, can't remember if it's 120 or 1170. And that is a structural level like that. Why do we want it to bounce there? I'm giving you a long-term forecast now. Okay, pulse, corrective structure, and we're looking for this one to bounce here and give us this pulse. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking out for. Before any bounce on silver and gold, we want one more down. Okay, now we need to look at US dollar JPY because US dollar JPY and gold are inversely correlated. If gold is going to drop US dollar JPY, we're on the daily now, US dollar JPY may come to this level. Okay, so we'll look for US dollar JPY to go to that level when gold drops. But first needs to come and clear this level here at this level. So there's a possibility here, if I go to the 4-hour, that this becomes a sideways corrective structure for a further upside. So let's go to the 4-hour and just look at this one. From here on, I'm only going to be looking at the lower time frame. Okay, so that's the 4-hour, and you'll be looking for this one as a correction here. 1, 2, 3. Touch down here. There's a very likelihood that this will come back here first before we go. Okay, we'll see how this correlates with gold. So gold may just go sideways while this one is pulling down. So because that happens sometimes when you're having that. So what will this become? This will now become a 1, 2, 3 wave here, a correction, and another 1, 2, 3 wave. So something like this. Lower degree in red, 1, 2, 3. Bigger correction in the middle, 1, 2, not like that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3, bigger correction, 1, this could be the corrective structure. This will just go more sideways than this one, than this one. So this will be the same degree, this will be the same degree, and we'll look for one up. But for now, next immediate move, you're looking for this one to bounce at this level for one down. And it's wedging in, so you can see that this is not a strong move. When it gets to that level, we'll look for this one to drop down here and look for then upside. Okay, so that's US dollar JPY. Let's look at pound JPY. So pound JPY, like most pound pairs, has reversed exactly where we wanted it to reverse. It's not necessarily a reversal, but rather a corrective structure. Look at this one here. You would have thought that this has made a move up and it's going to drop. Okay, does not always work like that. It's always one. This was not a drop, it was a correction. 1, 2, 3. Now similarly here we had a 1, 2, 3 with a running flat here, like that. So that means we had 1, 2, 3 waves. But if you look at the lower degree, and this is why it's important to look at all the degrees, you'll see that this is only a single wave to the upside here, and it is not complete. So we've got this one, which is this one here, and we'll look for this one to give us this move. So if we get like, I can't remember which one I showed you, like this one here, if we get this one to correct here, we will also look for almost guaranteed move to the blue box. I think it was pound US dollar. Yes, we looked at pound US dollar. Like most pound pairs have reversed at an area where if they correct and bounce, we will look for this one. Almost a guaranteed trade to rally into the blue box. Okay? Although not marked, this is where the blue box is supposed to be. So we will look for this one to rally. That's corrected here. We'll look for this one to rally into that blue box. Okay? So that's what we're looking at for. That's pound JPY, that is pound JPY euro. Okay, so euro, because we're looking for the euro now to drop, we'll expect this one to give us one more down in the lower degree. Reason why we want it to give us one more down is because this year, we're actually looking for this to push higher. 1, 2, 3 here. We got 1, 2, 3 regular flat like that, and we're now going to look at this structure we're looking for this for this degree here, looking for this degree here and a drop before we go up. Okay, initially what we were looking at, we were looking for here was that this would have been the orthodox low, and this was ready to go. So we looked at this one as a 1, 2, 3 waves, a pullback, and another 1, 2, 3 waves, making this a WXY structure. Okay, but it looks like that structure is not happening as we initially anticipated. But we can see the next immediate move is a correction and further downside, and that's supported by the euro weakness against the US dollar. So if you look at that correlation as well, we look for this one to at least come and retest this low if it does not come to this one. So euro short-term weakness. All right, that is euro JPY. Chief JPY, clear 3-wave move up, and now we're dropping. 1, 2, 3. Actually, this is not dropping as yet because this is another corrective structures. It may make one first before we drop, and this becomes a WXYXZ move, a triple correction here. Okay, so look out for this one here. When it drops, even if it does not drop with this move, it will just do that and drop. Okay, if I just show these waves clearly, this is a 3-wave move up, 3-wave back, 3 waves up, 3 waves back, 3 waves up, 3 waves back. Let's look at this here. It looks like you're going to have one. You're going to have one here. So that is your structure. If you look at the higher degree like that. So your higher degree is going to be your W, your X, and your Y before you drop. Okay. There's a reason why it's not a WXYXZ. That's because the cycle does not allow for a triple correction here. So we'll look for this one to come and drop. Right. So that is Chief JPY. It will be very interesting, yes. And it will be supported by the euro. So this does not even have to push up higher. This can just start as a diagonal. It's a leading diagonal here. Any corrective structure here, we'll look for this one to come down. Okay. So it's going to be very interesting. Harry is looking at the 10 lot size. It does look to be there. It does look to be there, but it's not one of those convincing ones. Okay, it's not one of those almost guaranteed ones. So we can actually drop from current levels looking at the structure. Nice one, Harry. All right, so let's carry on. Chief JPY. That is Chief JPY. That is AUD JPY. Now, AUD JPY. So these pulsing moves to the downside don't mean anything until you get a corrective structure. Okay, so wait for a corrective structure for at least a 3-wave pullback. Even if it doesn't give you a 3-wave pullback, let's just look at the daily one over here quickly. This can just start correcting here. You'll see here we've got a V pattern. We've got a V pattern here. And we pushed up higher because we had divergence there. You can see the divergence. The trend up started way before that upside. Way before that upside move. Makes a lower low, makes a higher low. So even before this started, the indicator had already started. The RSI had already started. All right, so that is Audi. So look out for this to correct at current levels. Don't rush into selling this. We may be ready for a bounce up. US dollar, JPY is looking for one up. So Euro JPY may do the opposite of what the other yen pairs are doing simply because of the euro. Okay, we'll look at those correlations. New Zealand, JPY, also, we've made a pulsing move to the upside. We look for correction at current levels. I don't expect this to reverse all the way. This may just start correcting here and push for one up. Okay, are we in a trend yet? This will tell us here if we correct here. And then we're gonna start getting a bigger one before we start going. Right, that is New Zealand JPY. CAD JPY. We've made 1, 2, 3 waves up. We made a passing move down. Now we're making this corrective structure. So this corrective structure may be this one here. We may be coming down for this one. So what will happen here is that you've got a pulse up and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. What is missing? The third wave that will give you this structure here. That could be an expanding or a running flat. So let's watch what the CAD does here. All right, so this may go, okay, so CAD will be coming down. If this one is still coming down, that means US dollar CAD will also be looking for more upside or going sideways around the blue box. So we'll look for this one to drop for one. It is not the clearest, this one is not a nice trade for downside. I'd rather you look for further upside, because this one can actually have the same structure that US dollar JPY is having right now, where it just pushes higher from here. But you'll need to watch for this one to drop. Don't go and buy the flag. If you want to buy here, you don't just buy because you think it's going to go up. If you're going to buy here, it needs to give you a corrective structure here. Okay? Yes, it's a little bit tricky, right? So, but even if it's tricky, you need to wait for the next structure. Okay, wait for the next structure. Right, so you've been doing a lot of work, Anom. Right, so that is CAD JPY. I think that concludes all the yen pairs. Let's run through the pound pairs. Pound chief. Pound chief, look at pound chief now. We've made a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corrective structure. It has broken up here. We're coming down. So we need to see what happens here. You need to wait for a corrective structure. You're going to have a pullback here. You're going to have a pullback here. We've got a correction here. Look for this one to come back here at the 61. Okay, so we'll see how the other pound pairs look. So if you look at the pound pairs, all of them in the higher degree, we're looking for them to push up higher in this fashion. And all of this, I posted all of these ones in January. So we still want this one to push up higher, even if it's correcting here. You see here, this is another pound pair that will be an almost guaranteed trade if it corrects at current levels. You'll see that these fibs have been marked way before it gets here. And as soon as it gets here, it starts this correction here. So we want to see if this correction goes sideways here. If it goes sideways, almost guaranteed trade to the blue box on almost 3 pairs now. Pound pairs. So look out for the pound pairs. Don't let these drops here, these reversals fool you, because this may just be the corrective structure that takes us into the blue box. Another one that we need to mark the blue box here as well. Most of the pound pairs are looking rather like that. That's our blue box there. All right. Okay, so that's how pound chief looks. Pound CAD. Pound CAD, even though this one is not exactly on the 3-wave structure, we're looking for this to correct at current levels for further upside. Okay, even if you look at this one in the lower degree, for example, the 4 or the 1 hour, it will be looking like a 3-wave pullback. As you can see, that is a 3-wave pullback, not just one candle as you see on the daily. So if you look at this one here, it's a 1, it's a 2, it's a 3. Corrective structure here, we'll look for this one to go for 1 up. Okay, we are also, so you can see that all the other pound pairs we expected the corrections at current levels, but pound CAD is not as clear as the other ones. That is why correlation is very important. So this one will be led by the other pound pairs. Now that is pound CAD. Let's look at pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand for daily, and see why we're dropping. Because the reason why I'm showing you the daily is because we expected 1 more up from current levels. So now this is what pound New Zealand, what this pair looks like now. We made this corrective structure. We made 1, we made 2, we made 3 here, 4. My pen is going skew. 4 and then a 5. This is what we call an 11 swing sequence. You've got 3 waves there, X. 3 waves there, X. 3 waves there, X. I expected 1 more up because I thought this degree was smaller compared to the other. So this is making a WX, Y, X, Z. So I was expecting that this move that is currently happening is only going to be a pullback, but it looks too impulsive to be only a pullback, and looks like this would have been the Z. This doesn't matter that you've missed the move. Actually, you have not missed this move because it is not even confirmed that the structure is completed. So it will be confirmed when you get out of this structure. If you just do the lines there. So any corrective structure from current levels, that will tell us that the sequence to the upside has completed. I was expecting 1 more up from current levels, but the sequence and the structure now looks to have changed slightly. So we're not going to get 1 more up. we're gonna start. It looks like we're gonna start dropping from current levels. So you need to get a decent correction for entry. Okay, that will be a very nice trade that will go minimum to around the 1,7 area, and that is very, very far in terms of pips. That's over 2,000 pips to the downside if you get a nice entry here. Okay. AUD US dollar is looking rather, pound US dollar is rather looking similar. Pound AUD, let's look at pound AUD. Pound AUD also, I wanted it to push one up because of the degree as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see also an 11 string sequence, W, X, Y, X, Z. Why am I not labeling this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because this is by no means a 5-wave impulsive move. You can see that this structure is very corrective. So what are we going to look out for? If we just do the channeling, we're not trading channeling, guys. I'm just showing you the structure. And this is the structure here. Okay, so I wanted the Z to push one up, to pull back one. This current downside, we focused that it's going to come, but we thought it was going to come as a correction, but it's coming now as an impulsive move. So it looks like this has now broken this top here, and we're ready to reverse. So now any corrective structure, especially outside this structure, would tell us that this correction has completed, and we now have a move right back to the lows, previous low around this area. Looking very, very interesting. So it's going to be nice trades to the downside if that plays out as it is. Just remember, there's another possibility. You need to, this one needs to come to this level first. It needs to come to this level first before any further upside, because from this level we could have an expanding or a running flat. This one here, we can have a correction here. So if you're gonna sell here, just move your stop to break even when you get to this level, but you need to have this corrective structure for entry. Okay. Right, so that upside still quite possible. Still quite possible, because if you look at this Chumani, if you look at this, if you're looking at this one as a 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3 there. This can still be a 3-wave move here. You see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. One, I should have just made 1, 2, 1, 1 single one here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in this degree. 1, 2, 3. This could still be a 1, 2, but the way it looks like this is still going to be further downside. If it corrects here, then this move to the upside that I have been looking for, this one push up before we come down, may not happen. So that's why we always say you need to wait for the next available structure. So if you get a flag here and you get an entry here, this is going to be too big to push further up. Okay, so it will mean that this sequence has ended here, and we're not going to get the Z at that level. Simple. All right. So that's how you're going to be looking at this one. It's very interesting. If you get the entry point here, it looks to be making, it has made a 3-wave move here, a 3-wave correction. It's clear. It has made a 3-wave correction there at that level. 1, 2, 3, and dropped. So it's possibility for this to make a corrective structure, go sideways from current levels and drop. So this can come back here, bounce up for one. If it makes a deeper correction like this, then this will give you confirmation that that cycle has ended there, and now you're ready for long-term downside on this pair. All right. That is pound AUD. Pound New Zealand, we already done. Pound CAD CHF, we did. Right, so I think we can now go onto the euros. So let's look at the euro pound. See what's on the chat box here. Right, let's carry on. I see somebody saying they are late, so I'll upload this, but it will only be edited later. Thanks, Ari. Right, so let's look at euros now. Euros, let's go to the 4-hour. If you look at the euro pound, we expected that this correction was going to come, and we're now getting this drop. We have now cleared this level. Okay, we need to get a corrective structure here. we need to get a corrective structure here for further downside. So, but now you're looking at the pound pairs and what they're doing currently, it looks like we've made, let's see here, no, this is still looking much more downside because this is busy correcting here. Further downside here, further correction here will mean that this is ready to go one more down. That's Euro pound. Looking at the rest of the Euro pairs, Euro New Zealand. This one is very interesting because it is already out of the channel. It's similar to pound New Zealand as well. So if you look at pound New Zealand, if you channel this one, this is very, very clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So similarly here, this is what is going to convince us that pound AUD has also reached the end of its cycle. We wanted this one to at least take this level here before it reverses, but it is already reversing at current levels. And if you do channeling here, it looks like it is already out of that structure as well. Let's use the blue color. Okay, it's there. If you use the blue color here, we're channeling here, we're already out of that structure. So now what we want here is a corrective structure for entry. And that corrective structure will minimum come to the 61 and come back to retest this level here. Okay, so this one is starting to look very interesting. It would have been a perfect move if it came here, but it is still good. It's still a number of pips to the downside from current levels. So now this is supporting further euro weakness in the coming sessions. Correction here, we look to come to the 61 of this level and then come down to this level. What structure will we be looking for now? We'll be looking for this 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 swing, 1, 2, 3 here, 11 swing sequence, and a pulsing move that can either come in 3 waves or a pulse. Actually, we will expect a 3-wave move similar to this that will retest this level here. Possibility for this to bounce from this level here and make this bigger corrective structure and make this structure here. 1, 2, 3 before we drop. Okay, so the higher degree, that's what we're looking at. We're looking out for this big correction, big flat correction. Look for corrective structure in the lower degree on Euro New Zealand for further downside. Euro CAD, making a V pattern. So Euro CAD may be the only Euro. Okay, Euro is still gonna push lower here in this V pattern, but at some point here, when this is complete, when this V pattern is complete, so we've got here, my mouse is starting to be a little bit shaky. Okay, so we've got here one, we've got this one here, looking like a V pattern here. We made a 3-wave move here and a correction. So now what we're looking for here is for the structure inside here to complete. Where there's going to be a 3-wave move, we're going to expect that we're going to have a bounce at some point here when that is completed. And that bounce we'll still expect further downside. Okay, so when that bounce comes, that will be supporting the US dollar CAD bounce. Okay, so now let's look here. There should be very strong divergence at these levels. You see that the RSI has already started a move up, so it is coming. Currently, we're going to get a drop in the lower degree, but we're going to get, if we're making this drop and this one makes another high, the next move will be the corrective structure to the upside. Okay, possibly even retest this level here. But for now, the euro is weak, but the driver here may be the CAD. If you just go to the 4-hour, go to the 4-hour, you'll see that this wants to drop. Okay, may push up 1, but this is a 3-wave correction, or it can be a 5 before we drop. Okay, and can make this corrective structure. Okay, 1 up, then we go down. Okay, so sideways on Euro CAD, but for now you will see that this will drop here, even though this will push for 1 and we drop. Okay, not much of a trade there. You can look at the other Euro pairs. Now let's look at Euro AUD. Euro AUD, similar to pound AUD. So this one may give us direction also on the cycle, on the pound AUD cycle. Okay, so we're looking at this structure now. 5-wave structure. Actually, this one has made a diagonal here. We've got a diagonal on AUD. Let's switch this on here. You see, we've got a diagonal there. What is currently happening here is a corrective structure. So a little slight difference in terms of structure between this and pound AUD, but you can see that there's correlation. We've got a pulsing move to the downside now. Let's just switch off there. We've got a pulsing move to the downside. We will look for this one to come and retest this level. This could be making a regular flat here like that. And we'll look for this one to bounce further up. So if this is not a regular flat and the cycle has ended here, we wanted it to end here, making this an A, B, C move. But this has not retested that level. It missed it by a few pips. So there's still a possibility for this one to do this. Okay, so let's keep an eye on this one. Next available move, correction, take it down, minimum this level. Okay, if we clear this structure, we'll look to go to the 61. Euro AUD, not the clearest at this stage. That's Euro AUD, Euro CHF. Euro CHF, let's look at Euro CHF and what we anticipated here. So Euro CHF, we looked at this one to be starting a diagonal. It looks like it is going sideways now on the daily. So this can come and retest this level at 130. It looks like a small move on the daily, but on the 4-hour could be quite a significant move. It's about 100 pips still to the downside, but not a very good risk to reward ratio on this one. So what we're looking for here is for this one to be starting a diagonal, a corrective structure in 3 waves, and another 3 waves to the upside. Okay, but it looks like that has now slightly changed, and we look like we're going to get a more sideways correction here. So the euro coming down, we'll look for this one to do this structure and then still continue to the upside. Okay, so that's why I always say you will know the direction, but you will, the market does not always go in a straight line. You always get these corrective structures before the prevailing direction or the direction that you expect eventually plays out. Right. That's Euro CHF. Get an entry point here because this could have ended. But it did not touch the top here. So that's why I'm still expecting this to break here and give us one more up, even if it's going to drop. So best to wait for this one to play out before any further trades. That's Euro CHF. I think we're done with all the euros. Euro AUD, we've done CAD, New Zealand. We've done, that concludes all the euro pairs. Now let's run through the crosses. Okay, well, let's do New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD. I'm going to do all the CAD pairs. Let's do the CAD pairs, 3 of the CAD pairs. This structurally has now looks like to have ended the sequence, even though we wanted it to come to this level. Okay, it missed it by a few pips, and that is normal. So if you get a corrective structure, a deeper one, in this case, something similar to this in terms of degree, then we'll be taking it further up, back to that level. Okay, so get an entry point here. This is a very strong move. This, we've started the trend now. I know it has missed here. It does not matter. This can still be a regular flat that comes and touches this level here. Okay, so lower degree, look out for entries. I think the same thing is happening to the CAD. We also wanted it to drop one slightly lower, but it has gone reversed before touching the level that we wanted it to. This is actually New Zealand CAD. Now let's look at AUD CAD. AUD CAD is similar. Now, if you look at AUD CAD, the same. Okay, this one has actually broken the level that we wanted it to. 1, 2, 3 up. 1. Okay, let's do this here. This one is a very clear structure. Look at this one here. 1, 2, 3. 1, running flat. 2, 3. Now we've made a 3, 3 down. Possibility of this to come back up here in an impulse. So look out for corrective structure in the lower degree on the 1 hour for a retest of this level. Okay, so now the CAD are looking very interesting. AUD CAD, New Zealand CAD. Looking at AUD New Zealand, let's look at AUD New Zealand. AUD New Zealand on the daily. I'm showing the daily charts now because it's simple to go down to the lower time frame when we've got the daily view. So now we're coming down with this move here. We want this one to come and retest this level here to give us this structure, to give us this three-wave move. Okay, let's show the whole structure and what we have been looking out for here. I don't think we've got, okay, I think we can just look at it quickly. We've got this long swing from the top here, and all of this has been correcting from 2015 in this move. We made a pulsing move here. So from 2015, we've been in a correction, and this correction is only correcting this move. You see 1, 2, 3 move there, 1, 2, 3 wave move there. So what you have here is a W, is a X. Are we going to have a Y here? It's possible that you're going to have a Y. That's why we're looking for this one to drop and come and make a Y here, like that. What does that mean? What does that do in terms of structure? Then this will have this one. This will be an A move, a very complex B correction, and a C. That is why we're looking for this one to come down. Now, if you forget anything about this analysis, just look out for this one to come and retest this level, and then this level. If we retest this level with this current move, we're going to have a very nice and interesting move to the upside from here. Okay, so it's very clear structure. If you look at this one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, by the book to the pip. So it looks very interesting. Keep track on it. You can get these small trades to the downside. All right, so that's out in New Zealand. And I think we can look at oil from here. Looking at oil, so oil, we were looking for this structure on oil to be only a corrective structure that will push higher, okay, as an expanding flat. Still a possibility, but looking at the structure now, that may have changed and that cycle may have ended. So what we're going to wait for is for this one to start correcting now. If this starts correcting here now, that means that this cycle has ended, and we're gonna adjust it to the rest of the sequence. Maybe this is doing a 1, is a 2, is a 3, and now we're gonna have a 1, 2, 3 wave move. Okay, so let's see how this one plays out. Otherwise, our sequence and the cycle was that this was the wave 5 where we had completed a wave 5. We're looking for this one to give us a bigger corrective structure here for further upside that was going to make an A, B, C move that will mean further oil strength. But for now, it looks like we've made a passing move to the downside. That does not mean anything until we get the structure is confirmed. We're still channeling in here. And don't go and buy this because it's on the channel. What you want to wait for is for this to confirm current levels if it's going to go further downside. Any corrective structure here, doesn't matter at current levels or even below this, even if it pushes lower, then we're going to retest this level in the higher degree. That is oil. Right, now let's look at the indices. If we look at the indices, S&P 500. Okay. I think somebody said there was a bit of a confusion with the analysis last week. So let's look on the daily. If you're looking on the daily on the S&P 500, we looked at this one here. We looked for this one. I wanted this one to retest this level, but I said it does not have to retest this level because this can be a running flat. A running flat can turn anyway. So we're currently on this upside. So last week we were busy with this correction, and I said I thought it was going to pull back or even pull back lower. Okay. Was even going to pull back lower and touch here because this move was possible. So it could have made 1, 2, 3 retest, 1, 2, 3 retest, but that was going to change the structure completely. It was going to be 3, 3, 3 W X Y X Z, but this structure is non-existent. That is why I don't label it. So this is what some people call a contracting flat. Elliott never spoke about a contracting flat in his book, so we are not looking at this to be a contracting flat. So as far as we are concerned, we don't have a pattern called a contracting flat. All right, so now what are we looking out for? We're looking for this one to keep on correcting and further upside. Okay, let's go to the lower degree. At some point, it looked like it was correcting for downside during the week. When it made this pulsing move to the downside, okay, this looked like it was gonna correct. But it has now made a 1, a 2, and a 3 wave move, and we are now correcting. So we will push further up. Okay, what is happening now is currently a pullback. Although this current move to the upside is not very convincing. Not very convincing, so we're going to need to see if this becomes a correction, then we're going to have one more up. Otherwise, you can see that this can possibly be a 1, a 2, and a 3-wave correction, and this one now can start going for that, retesting those lows. But for now, this is what we need to look for. We need to wait for this corrective structure. This corrective structure is telling us more upside on this one. That is S&P 500. The Nasdaq will be similar, and the Dow Jones. Okay, so you can see that we've made a 3-wave move to the upside. So this is why the upside is not convincing on all these pairs. So we've made a 3-wave move down, we're making this one here. It will be convincing if we make a correction here. We get one. If we get one, even so, we'll just be making a bigger corrective structure for downside before we go up. Okay, so what is the next trade to wait for? Well, this looks like a whole correction here. We'll look for this one to push for one up. Right, that is the Nasdaq. The Dow, let's look at the Dow as well. Dow will be similar to S&P 500. Okay, we've made it. This one has got a convincing path. So this one can be the one that leads us. So with this and a correction, that will pull all the other indices up. Okay, so we'll be looking for the upside on the indices in the next coming week. The trend has resumed and we're upside. So any corrective structure, these pullbacks will just be correction for further upside. Okay, that is the Nasdaq UK 100. So usually UK 100, you find that it is slightly different to the others. So here we've made a 1, 2, 3-wave move. We've made a 1, a 2. Looks like we're going to have one more down here as well before we get another move to the upside. But you can see that this will be a corrective structure. So we're going to need to monitor this correction. So from this correction, we expect to have further upside on the UK 100. Right, that is UK 100 and Nikkei. Nikkei, also a pulsing move to the upside. Any pullback here is a corrective structure. Even if it doesn't go sideways and does this one, it is a 3-wave pullback. We look for further upside. Okay, that is the Nikkei. DAX. DAX similar to UK 100. You can see that we've got a corrective structure here. We've got 1, 2, 3-wave here. We'll look for this one to give us another one. Okay, when we get to these 3 waves here, then we'll adjust the structure and see what we get. Whether we're going to get 1, 2, 3 back and further upside, or whether this will be the correction for one more down. But for now, we need to wait for this corrective structure. We are looking upside in the next week. The rest will update as we go along. Now that is the DAX. I think that concludes all the indices. Now we're looking at the Nifty. Also, pulse, we're correcting. You can see that they've all made a pulsing move. We're busy correcting here for further upside. So if we're looking at the Nifty, I always look at this Sun Farmer. I think there's a lot of people that are tracking this pair, this stock. I think mostly just for the sake of looking at whether the analysis also works on stocks. It works amazingly well on stocks. Actually, when Elliott did his research on the theory, it was mostly on stocks. Okay, he was a stock market accountant actually. Right, so now you're looking for this one. We spoke about this corrective structure. We've now broken up here, and we're looking for this one to push further up higher. So we were looking at this one now as a 1, 2, 3 wave, and if it was going to come, we thought it was going to come and retest this low if this becomes a 3-wave structure. So now it is now doing what we wanted to do from the onset, which is this being a 3-wave move, this being a correction, and then push up higher. Look where we bought this one. Couple of weeks back, months back in April. Now it looks like it's going to be very interesting now. Unfortunately, Danny, I have to run. We'll do US dollar TRY maybe in the next week. I don't have enough time this week. Okay, so I'll do US dollar TRY next week. Okay, so we'll be looking for this one to do this 1, 2, 3. We still have to do the cryptos, unfortunately. All right, so we're looking for this one to push up higher. Those who are trading in the NSE and this stock specifically, look out for this to push higher. You can even buy this now, put your stop loss here. Those who entered here can move their stop loss to break even. All right. All right, so let's carry on with that. Now we're looking at the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. Cryptocurrencies, they've been sideways for a while now. And I said, it looks like it's time now to start accumulating the cryptocurrencies, depending on how much your account can how much downside your account can take. We're looking for this one to make one down here. We're looking for one down to come and complete this red degree. Bitcoin, it has not done anything since last week. I think last week we were on 6,300. We're still on 6,300 this week as well. So there is no much difference between last week's analysis and this week's analysis on Bitcoin. Okay, so we'll look for this one for one down before we go, and you'll see. Let's see here if we're gonna get in confirmation form. We've already started the uptrend here. The RSI has already started the uptrend. It's actually time to start accumulating, but I said that we may get one pulse up, which is this one here. We get one pulse up. The structure is rather very complex. This is the one down that we're looking for, which is W, X, and then we're looking for this one to game. I'm expecting the one drop before we go. So if we're getting this one drop here, the indicator makes a higher high, then we're going to look for this one to the upside. So this will move here, maybe this one. Let's clean this up and do it properly. This move here, this passing move, and the reason why I'm saying we should now start looking to accumulate will be this move here. See here, this will be the W in the higher degree, the X in the higher degree, and then this Y. So we may have this WXY move here, and one big drop to the downside before we go up. So most people may get excited when this starts happening. You buy, and it starts coming down and against you, and then you lose money. And then when the real move actually starts happening, then you are now so afraid you lose out on this. So you need to anticipate both moves. It may not just push up and go in one straight line. Go up, come down, and go up. As I said last week, I think this charts are designed to confuse you. It seems they push the price in such a way that you lose money. Okay, it looks like it's designed in a way that it makes you lose money. But if you understand how the waves work, you should be able to understand why it moves the way it does. Right, that is Bitcoin. Litecoin should be similar. No changes, not much changes. Let's see from last week. Okay, so Litecoin, short term correction here, slight drop back to this level for the next week. That is Litecoin. Ethereum. Okay, we had a lot of inquiries about this one, and the way the blue box is projected on this one. Let's just go to the daily once more. Most people worried about the blue box being in the negative 200. I'm not saying that we're going to get to the negative 200. I'm just saying that it's going to go very low before we go up. Okay, so this is only a geometrical projection. It will go very low, may not touch the blue box, does not even, it won't touch, it won't go, obviously we don't go below zero. That just does not make any sense. It is nonsensical for it to go below zero, but we want it to drop before we go up. Okay, so Ethereum is behind in terms of with the other cryptocurrencies, because the others have already made this move and now they are busy with this one. Okay, so this one has not made this up. So similar to what Ripple has done, Ethereum may have that spike to the upside as well. So you need to watch this one as well for upside. So it's actually in long term, it's time to accumulate the cryptocurrencies. The trend has already started on the RSI. It's just a matter, if you can accumulate this and you are able to hold this, your account is able to take it, you're going to get a move to the upside very soon, very, very soon. You're going to get that move. If you're busy accumulating here, you're going to get an upside here soon, even if they drop it first before it goes. Right, so that is Ethereum, Ripple. Exactly the same, but this one has already had its impulsive move, so we're just looking for this one to give us one more. No, actually not. This one wants to retest there. the previous high. We wanted to retest the previous high. That was the analysis last week. May come back for one here and give us this structure. So we'll see how this one plays out. All right, guys. That's all I had for you this week. Hope you make money in the next week. Trade responsibly. Not the clearest of setups this week, but the pound pairs are looking rather interesting. Keep an eye on them, and good luck in the week ahead. Cheers, guys. The video may come out late today, but it will be uploaded eventually. Have a great Sunday and the rest of the week. Cheers. Bye-bye. You're welcome, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.